In this class we want to talk about working with others. Now, having the necessary skills to work effectively with others is vital, especially within academic and professional fields. But working in teams and working together is important in business in many areas also. For example, the production team must work together, or the marketing team, where different members of the team have different skills, but they all contribute towards the overall understanding of the market. So working in teams is essential. By and large, we do not all possess the skills necessary to carry through a project from start to finish. We normally have the skills to do a certain part of the project. We need someone else to help us with the next part and someone else to do the next part again. So we form teams, and the teams work according to their skills and abilities to make contributions towards the overall project at the end. So working in teams is essential. It helps us to get large projects completed, be it in industry or in academic circles or in the professional fields. But we can take on large projects which are complex, and each of us can do a certain part of it. We don't have the skills to do the other parts, but our colleagues have those skills, and by combining we get the project done. Now, during your academic career, you will always have opportunities to work as part of a team and develop essential team working skills and qualities. Some courses enable students to work as part of teams. Some courses require students to work as part of teams. For example, the BTEC philosophy is broadly based on the idea that team working is essential, and that students should be organized into teams and be able to work together, because that is a good simulation of what happens in industry and in commerce. When we work in offices or we work for companies, by and large we do not work independently. We work as part of a larger team. So training for that should start in the education sector, and that's one of the principles behind the BTEC way of educating. Now, working with others involves working with groups of people in order to achieve a common goal. For example, project work or a presentation and discussions. So even if we all have equal skills, if we can imagine a team of people who all roughly are the same in terms of their skill sets and their abilities, it's still important to work as a team, because in passing work between each member of the team, people have different perspectives and different views and can make comments and criticisms and suggestions, and in so doing improve the overall piece of work. So working in a team is good practice anyway, even though we've all got the same skills, if that were the case. Now, what's involved in working in a team? Well, individuals have assigned roles because the team is made up from individuals, and each one must know what their contribution is and what's expected of them. And the ground rules, how the work will be progressed, how the work will be passed from each person to the next, what's expected, the format of the work, the work when it's passed on in what format and how will it be presented. And so set the ground rules, set out what's required. So make sure everyone is clear to start what the piece of work is, what's required, what each contribution will be, and the time scale, when will all of this be delivered. Sorry, I've jumped on a bit. Then discuss and share ideas. It's important. That's the whole idea of the team, to be able to sit down and talk together. Or if it's online, set up channels of communications, video conferencing, or send emails and send copies of work through and back, and share work. Don't just email it as attachment, share it. The technology is there to share on the cloud. And discuss the work, make improvements, make suggestions. Some of the suggestions may be rejected. At least it was a suggestion. Accept all suggestions as good suggestions, because it's good that people make the suggestions. They don't have to be accepted, but it's good that they make the suggestions. So making suggestions is a good thing, and members of the team should be encouraged to make contributions, even though the contributions may not be accepted or may not be relevant. Providing the members of the team are trying to improve the work, that's what's required. And set deadlines, because if there are no deadlines, people in the team will just drift. We'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next week, I'm busy at the moment, I'll do it whenever. That's not the way to work. The way to work is to say, here's the task, it must be completed by a certain date, it must be completed by next week. That's it. That means the team are now focused on bringing in that piece of work. It will be completed by that time. That's the rule. So it's important to have a deadline. And organize review meetings to check progress. If it's online, just once in a while video conference with everyone and talk about the work, talk about the quality of the work, what's been done so far, what needs to be done. Make sure everyone's up to speed. Everybody knows where they've got to and what's required. And try to be as positive as possible about the contributions of everyone. Try and support group members to achieve the goals. Criticisms and derogatory behaviour towards individuals or laughing at individuals' contributions, that's bad. It is bad because it will alienate those people and they will not make a contribution in the future, and their future contributions may be excellent. So it's cutting off a resource that should not be cut off. So develop positive relationships. That's the idea. Positive relationships means the work will be completed, and it'll be completed with goodwill on the part of all members of the team. Now, an effective team has a goal which needs to be achieved. So they must have a clear goal. That's important. The targets and deadlines are appropriately agreed. There must be realistic deadlines. We can't have it in 5 minutes. We'll have it at the end of the month. We'll have this project completed then. The targets must be realistic and they must be agreed by the team members. When everyone agrees to them, they are set. And not until everyone agrees and everybody's happy can the work really start. The team should be able to effectively delegate tasks to the appropriate group members. It's important that the team members, their skills should be used effectively, and team members will have different skills. So the tasks should be delegated in a way that reflects their skills and their abilities, because that is optimizing the use of the team. That's optimizing the collective skill set. All members must feel included in group tasks and discussions. Don't leave out members of the team. When meetings are taking place, No secret meetings, no planning behind the scenes or discussing individuals behind their backs. Try to do everything as openly as possible so there is commitment right across the team. And show respect for each member of the team and complete tasks to agreed deadlines. So show respect to other members of the team and recognise their contribution and thank them and congratulate them for meeting the deadlines and making such a valuable contribution. In that way it'll be easy to set up teams in the future and people will enjoy the experience, will want to work alongside you. Now utilise your skills. Well, process skills such as planning, monitoring, organising and reviewing. Make sure that there are skills in place to plan the project, plan it properly. Look at all of the upsides and the downsides of the project and the problems that may be anticipated, and make sure there's a good monitoring process in place, and organise the project effectively and properly, and then review it from time to time and involve the team in the whole process so that everyone feels a part of it and they want to make a contribution. Interpersonal skills such as communications and working on your own initiative and people skills, listening skills, etc. Make sure that these are adequate. Make sure that members of the team have good interpersonal skills. They can communicate clearly and effectively and politely with other members of the team. They show respect. They recognise other members' contributions and thank them for it. And it's important when working on the project that each individual not only does his or her task, but makes the handover to the next person for their contribution as easy as possible. Then there are people skills. And now working with others require people skills such as develop and maintain, I should say, good relations with other team members. It's just simply important to have a good working relationship with people. Be able to talk to them as colleagues, as human beings, and treat them with respect. And it's a far better approach because the chances are it will be reciprocated and there'll be a better working relationship. Stick to deadlines. If a deadline is set and agreed in advance, stick to it. Make sure that you, as a member of the team, meet your deadline. You're not holding somebody else up. They're not waiting. You're not holding the whole work up. So it's important to meet deadlines. Now, being an effective team member requires excellent communication skills, listening and speaking. So make sure that the people skills are in place, the interpersonal skills are in place, the ones I mentioned earlier. Make sure that people feel confident to speak out and to raise concerns and even thank others and praise others for their contribution. It should be an open environment in which to work. And if it's online, it's still the same. It's still a team of people working. They just happen to be using technology and they're separated by distance. But such is the advances in technology, the distance issue is not so significant. So communications is important. And being able to negotiate is important. Negotiate deadlines and negotiate issues. When problems arise, some person in the team disagrees with somebody else over something, negotiate. See if a compromise can be drawn up and something in between perhaps which will be meet both expectations and will also perhaps strengthen the project itself. So be able to negotiate, that's important. And It's important that leadership skills should be there. The leader should be able to compromise and inspire the others and lead the others by example and resolve conflict and have good interpersonal skills. These are important leadership skills, and one member of the team should possess these and could act as a focus for the others. They're able to go through that person to try and resolve issues or solve problems. Some teams may work in environments where listening skills are important. And effective listening skills requires the use of appropriate body and facial language. So we're listening, but we're also, perhaps if it's a face-to-face meeting, we're also looking at the body language. People are talking to us, but at the same time using their hands or pulling faces or explaining the situation, and there's a depth of feeling that we're able to get. In addition to the words being said, we're able to feel this extra dimension. And it's important to be able to read that. And listen to others before interrupting. It's most important that people get to say what they want to say before they're interrupted. It's important for them to make their point. And only after the point's been made, then make a contribution. Not beforehand. Do not interrupt. Make sure that there's absolute clarity about what's been heard and what's been said, and ask questions. Clarify the points. When you said that, did you really mean this or did you mean that? I'm not quite sure. So ask the question. Just sometimes people are embarrassed to ask the questions because the questions may seem too simple. But it's important. Just ask the question. And provide opportunities for other members to join the conversations. If it's a team, it's not advisable to have secret meetings or backroom meetings quietly and planning behind people's backs. Try to involve the team. Do it openly. It'll inspire more confidence in everyone. Everyone will feel a part of it, and if there's an issue, bring it to the surface and deal with it. Now, the benefits from working with others is there's better performance and productivity because it's a better environment. It's a more realistic environment. It's the way we live our lives. We tend to work as members of teams. But there's better performance because we have colleagues who are interested in the same issues, and we can talk to them and we can bounce ideas off them and get comments off them, and these are people we're associating with. And there are opportunities for skill development. For example, having identified weaknesses in the team, perhaps the team may say, well, we need to strengthen up on something, and there is more support within the team. There's an understanding that this particular set of skills need to be strengthened or developed, and some person may volunteer to take that on board, and they have the support of the team. They feel better because they're not working alone. They've got a team behind them, wishing them on, wishing them the best and trying to help them. Working in a team is it's a process of self-discovery. We're not individuals living on a desert island. We live in communities. We work in communities. We work in teams. In companies, there are all sorts of teams. In academic circles, there are teams. There's the teaching team, the tutoring team, the study group teams, the project teams. There are all sorts of teams, and people meet and discuss issues related to these, and out of those discussions make better decisions because they're able to get instant feedback, instant points and criticisms and positive feedbacks, and so better decisions come out of it. So we are learning more about ourselves in doing this. We're improving ourselves. So team working is important. It's coming into many academic areas where mostly in the business and management area, where students are asked to work in teams. The Business and Technical Education Council in the UK were one of the first to properly push this, and to their credit, it's now been widely accepted as a means of learning, but it must be done correctly, and the students must be enthusiastic about it in order to make it to work. But it's certainly the way we live our lives. Having completed our education, if we ever complete our education, because really we're in a situation of lifelong learning, but having completed formal education, shall I say, we find ourselves in teams. So it is important. That's all I'm going to say about this topic for the moment, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.